Helen Hart Smith here again with
Kathy
the Coffer. We're stepping into a realm that we have not been in quite some time. It's top 10 time. Dude, I feel like we need a cheesy game show intro to a top 10.
It's top 10.
Whoa! Like we need Wink Martindale or something like that to announce us or something, right?
Right.
A great 70s MC voice.
Right.
So this is a top 10 that we've had ready to go
for a while.
But things happen, just like,
Pandemic.
Whatever. But I think we have to give a caveat. We are not gemologists. We are not geologists. We're not any isticists. Okay? So we're going to try to explain some of this a little bit, but inevitably when we mess it up, don't come at us.
I mean, let us know we've messed up.
Yeah,
but don't be angry that we messed up.
Gently let us know that we messed up.
In a constructive way.
Exactly.
Right.
So that all being said, Kathy, what's the subject of this week's top 10?
Today on this week's top 10, we are talking about man-made stones.
Oh, I like me a good... No, I don't. I'm not into man-made stones.
There's a couple of them I really like.
Yeah, there's one.
There's a couple of them I really like.
Yeah. So, you're gonna get the ball rolling because that's one of your ones.
Yeah, I'm gonna stop hitting the tripod.
Yeah,
too,
let's not.
Because
Yeah.
then
Shake it.
Yeah,
you make us all quirky.
I'm gonna hit the ball rolling with Goldstone.
Ooh.
Goldstone is available in many different colors, and it's basically a piece of glass with shiny bits.
Glittery bits.
Glittery bits.
Flake, if you will.
Right. And they're very pretty.
You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of my nails. Ooh.
Right.
And it reminds me of some of the paint finish at my job. So, yeah, it's like little bitty pieces of glittery
It's like glitter in glass.
Glitter in glass.
And it's very pretty.
It's very flashy.
Yes.
What's your favorite color of Goldstone?
Oh, I like the blue.
The blue is nice.
Yeah, and I'm looking over there at my altar where I have blue and green and brown.
Mm-hmm.
I can't see it.
Some might call that gold.
Yeah.
Something along those lines.
Right.
Yeah, so that's the first one. The second stone on our list is actually the one that I'm kind of into, and it's called Fordite.
And I really like a piece of that.
It's really expensive. So Fordite, I think it's a thing in Michigan, Michigan or a state where
they manufacture cars.
Yeah, because that's where this comes from. So Fordite originated from when they were cleaning out the paint booths in the Ford plants, and the like metallic stuff that was in these paint booths,
the layers
became encrusted with layers of different paint color throughout the years. And so it makes really interesting jewelry settings.
Very pretty.
And there are people, so it's a Michigan thing, but it's not just a Michigan thing, because of course Michigan is known for its automotive industry. But there are folks that will know which plant that certain pieces come from based on whatever the colors, because it was only done at that plant.
Right, because different car manufacturers use different colors.
Right. And different Ford plants
the trucks were different colors a lot of times in the cars.
Yeah, so it's really interesting stuff. But like I said, it's expensive because every time that I've seen... Yeah, it's very limited. And every time I've seen it sold, like if it wasn't in a finished piece of jewelry, then it had a set price for whatever that was. But to buy it rough, you're going to pay by the gram, and you're going to pay a lot by the gram. But it's definitely a finite thing. But there's some good stuff out there.
It's really cool.
So yeah, and I want to say that in an effort to separate paint from Ford and from other car companies, I want to say I've heard that some other car companies might call it something else. And if anybody knows any of those, feel free to share them. But I see something like that and I just automatically call it Fordite because that's the term I know.
General Motors,
it sounds silly.
Pontiac,
right. Yeah. So.
Yeah, Fordite.
Fordite.
So the next one is Opalite. And Opalite has a lot of the same chemical properties as opal. It still has silicone dioxide in.
We made notes.
Yeah. Yeah, so the silicone dioxide forms a pyramid grid shape, and they tend to cut or create opalite in a high dome shape, which allows you to see the cat's eye flash in it. Yeah. But it does have the same chemical makeup as real opals, but because it's man-made, they call it opalite.
Yeah. And the roomie likes opalite, and it's got like that pretty little sheen on it. So
I don't think I have any.
I know I don't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not for me.
Yeah. Next on the list is bismuth. And so bismuth is it's like a crystalline form that oftentimes it grows in like a block shape, but it will also do shapes like pyramids and things like that. And so as I understand it, and here's the one where I feel the shakiest about it, so be gentle. Bismuth exists as a metal, is my understanding. And so you can melt the bismuth at incredibly high temperatures. Like it was 520 degrees Fahrenheit. But you melt it at a high temp, and then I believe you mix it with sulfide ore or something along those lines.
I'm trying to read my writing.
Yeah, it's part of
I was trying to read it, really small.
So it's part of a smelting process. So and it comes in nickel, tin, and
so it's a byproduct of the nickel tin smelting process.
Yeah, and there's copper in there too. But what happens is this stuff grows in like a crystalline form that, like I said, it's really cool. often like a square shape, but I have seen like a pyramid shape, right. And it's got that iridescence to it that like an opalite will have.
Google it, it's just amazing.
It has that rainbow effect, that rainbow opalescence.
Opalescence.
Right. And they're cool. They can be pricey. Because you got to make it, kind of thing.
Although I've seen people make it on TikTok, so I mean,
they're scientists, and right. That's not me.
Right. So number 5 is another glass product, and this is colored obsidians. Now, if I could be mistaken on this, but I think generally natural obsidian is black.
Correct.
So if you're seeing something that's a green or a blue or clear, it's just glass. And really that's all that obsidian is. It's just glass that is created through a volcanic process.
Right. And makes it black. But it's a natural process. So
if you're seeing some of these colored obsidians, and I do have several colors of them, it's not a natural process.
Now, it's my understanding that if you have a gold sheen or a silver sheen obsidian, that's a natural formed version, and a mahogany obsidian, snowflake obsidian, those are natural. Those are natural occurrences. But oftentimes, it's the green. I've seen green and I've seen blue, and they're clear where you see through them.
Strawberry.
Basically.
Strawberry over there too.
She's checking out her stash.
I have a stash. So I do have green and I have strawberry, but I also have the natural obsidian and the snowflake obsidian.
Yeah. So, but just know, and I mean, that doesn't mean that there isn't I guess we should also say that just because these are man-made doesn't mean that they don't have magical intention.
It doesn't mean they're invalid or that they shouldn't be used, because in my opinion, many things have the magic that you give them. So if you can, and you can feel the same kind of magic coming off a piece of unnatural, man-made obsidian that you do a regular piece of obsidian, but you may find that it's stronger in a natural piece of obsidian.
Mm-hmm. Right. And honestly, like a lot of these things that come from a smelting process, that is stuff that like really occurred throughout history, because we've been processing metals since the Bronze Age.
Right.
So, yeah.
Iron Age.
Just kind of, is the Iron Age before the Bronze Age?
Well, bronze is a combination of things, and I think iron is just iron. So I could be wrong. Tell me if I am, but I think the Iron Age comes before the Bronze Age.
I thought Bronze Age was first. We'll see. So the next on the list are dyed stones. So this is one thing to kind of be on the lookout for.
Be careful.
So oftentimes if you are on vacation and you're stopping at a tourist destination, have you ever gone in and you see this like big display of rocks that are tumbled, and they have like little either leather or velvet bags,
right,
and it'll say pack this bag and get all of these rocks
$4.99.
Right. Most of the time, all of those rocks are dyed.
And you really have to be careful with things like turquoise, because a lot of turquoise that they're trying to sell you as turquoise is really just dyed howlite.
Right.
And a lot of the really deep color amethyst that you find is a dyed amethyst.
Well, it might be a heated
whatever.
amethyst.
It's still treated to get that deep color.
Right. Yeah. So that's just something to kind of be aware of. And so most of the time those stones are probably going to be like a quartz. Like it's a natural formed stone, but it has been dyed. Mm-hmm. So if you, I'm looking at my hair, if you see a stone that's literally this purple, it's probably dyed. If you see something that's like a magenta color, it's probably dyed.
Right.
Things like that. So again, there's magic part of it. There's magic within it, but they are dyed, and therefore they are man-made.
Well, and again, you could still have magical properties in them. Just be aware that you're going to have that extra process in them as well. Mm-hmm. And if you're trying to do magic with turquoise, it may not work as well if it's actually howlite.
Correct. Yeah. And especially if you're beading and wanting turquoise beads.
Yeah.
More often than not, it's going to be a dyed howlite, because turquoise is just really expensive.
It is.
And that's kind of a common theme in some of this stuff, is that, you know, things are finite. The real stuff is super expensive. And so these are some man-made alternatives that are more affordable, basically. Right. So... yeah.
So, speaking of more affordable, let's talk about pearls. That's number 7. Now, of course, pearls are prevalent in the wild. There's pearl divers. You know, pearls are formed by a grain of sand or some other material in an oyster, and they put a substance on it to try to isolate it from themselves so that it doesn't make them sick. So... there are pearl farms where they take a whole bunch of oysters and they insert a piece of something. Sometimes they use a bead, so that it quickens the process of getting the pearl. You're not waiting for it to get this big or however big. Mm-hmm. You start with a bead, and then you just need a couple layers on top of it. But there are large pearl farms where they have the oysters and they implant them, and then it creates a pearl. Mm-hmm. Again, it's not, you can use magic on pearls to the same. It's made, I don't know if they can make them without the actual clams. Seems like I was reading something where it said that they laid something down to make, I don't know.
You know, I'm sure anything is possible.
Not an expert.
I'm sure anything is possible, but man-made.
Right.
So
I made pearls, and I have 7.
So the next couple are just kind of fun. So I have never seen either one of these next two that we're going to talk about, but it's a thing apparently. So the first one is, and number 8 on our list, by the way, is Surferite. Now, if you have any ounce of deduction whatsoever, you're probably guessing that these are gems, jewels, whatever, that is created from a surfboard. And I would have to tell you that you're absolutely right. I'm kind of interested to see some of this stuff, and I'm sure that it's stuff that is shaped down into a cabochon,
or a bead
for something, for jewelry making.
Now, I'm curious though, is it, okay, first of all, I am not a surfer. I don't know what surfboards are made of. I know that some surfboards are made of wood, and I know that I've seen things like guitars made out of surfboards cut down. So I'm wondering if Surferite is made from the wooden boards, or if they make surfboards that are some kind of, what is it you use at your work?
Composite.
Yeah, some sort of composite. I don't know the answer to that question.
I think that most, I was going to look up composite. I think that most surfboards these days are made from, Surferite earrings. Let's click on these are cool. Look at, sorry, let me finish the thought. I think most surfboards nowadays are made from a composite of some kind. Not a surfer. That's not my gig. But okay, so here is a pair of, this is on eBay. So here is a pair of Surferite earrings. Now I hope that this kind of shows up on the...
Oh, it does.
The colors aren't fantastic, but that's because it's like screen on screen. So just to kind of give you a heads up as to like the true colors that we're seeing. Yeah. Oh, that was rude. Come back. So the top part is white, and then there's like a baby blue, and then like a black and a brown and a dark blue, like maybe a pink.
Or purple.
And a red, a little bit of white, and then like these brownish yellow tones,
and
right?
Green.
Oh yeah, green on the other one. So yeah, I wonder if I hold it at a different angle, does it? Yeah. So and then down below, oh wow, these ones are really cool. Look at those right there. The colors just aren't coming through. Yeah, so I'm not going to show anymore. But, so yeah, those are Surferite too. Oh, wait. That might not be Surferite. Rainbow Calsilica. I'm going to have to look that up because that's interesting. But yeah,
yeah. You want to Google the next one so that I can see what it looks like?
Yeah.
So number 9 is Bowlerite. And you might be able to deduce that it is a stone made of bowling balls. I'm not sure what they put in bowling balls. I'm sure it's some kind of composite.
Yeah, it's another composite material.
What's that one? Yeah.
Huh. Because I've actually seen like a bowling ball. So these are like just some discs. But we've all seen a bowling ball and like the swirly colors and stuff like that. So I think it would make pretty things.
Right.
Either like a cabochon for earrings or a necklace or something along those lines. But actually seeing it in this disc shape, I think it'd make really neat sphere holders.
Oh.
Do like a disc.
Yeah.
And then have a little divot in it that a sphere would sit in.
So you might wonder what magical uses you could use for these. Obviously, they're not a natural stone. But if you're doing something that's, trying to pull in the magic of the ocean, Surferite might be nice to use. If you're trying to pull in something that has to do with skill or camaraderie, then Bowlerite might be something that you might use.
Or if you're doing like a healing spell for your dad and he's a big bowler.
He's a big bowler, right? Or same for Surfer.
I could see like a protection charm with Surferite for someone who surfs. That would be super interesting. Yeah, for sure. So the last item on our list is probably things that you might have thought of at the onset of this
when we
list.
Talked about man-made gems.
But we kind of like saved it for last. And that would be lab created precious stones like diamonds, emeralds, rubies, sapphires.
They tend to be a lot more reasonably priced
than the real
thing, and have fewer flaws.
Yeah, like the clarity is supposed to be just as nice, but the price point isn't as expensive. Right. There's lab created spinel as well too, which spinel is a gemstone that has kind of recently come on to my radar, that I'm kind of digging the idea of. So yeah, I've watched, there's a YouTube channel called Gemstones where they talk a lot about gems. And so it's been very educational because I know nothing about clarity. I know nothing about like any of the terminology that, you know, one talks about when talking about diamonds and, you know, all this kind of stuff. So there's like light refraction and all of this kind of stuff. So yeah, it's really interesting. But and that's something that we've been getting on the scene for a number of years now. Yeah. And some people are not interested in lab created gemstones, and some people are just fine with it. It's like it's a matter of taste.
So I just want to point out, we're not talking about pieces of glass that are colored to look like those stones. We're talking about stones that are created through the same process that would create them naturally, but in a man-made environment.
Correct.
In a lab.
Right. Yep. It's a fascinating process and one that's way over my head. But very interesting nonetheless. Right. I've seen, you know, like when a sample is taken, like a core sample where it's like a long rod. I've seen lab created, I think it was emerald, that was like a long tube in green, and it was man-made emerald.
Make a nice wand.
It was interesting. It was really interesting. Yeah. So yeah. So there you have it. Top 10 man-made stones. If there's something that we missed, we definitely would like to hear about it.
If you use some of these things on a regular, let us know how you use them.
Yep, and like how, like, do you like it better than the natural stuff, or is it as effective? What do you use it for?
Or do you just buy it because it's more reasonably priced?
Right. We want to know all the dirt, really. We're just here to know what y'all are doing, and we share what we're doing, and we learn from each other. So it's just a good thing. So if you enjoyed this video, or what?
If you learned something.
That's right. Give it a thumbs up.
Right. Or subscribe.
Subscribe if you haven't done so.
Ring the bell.
That's right. That will let you know when new videos are posted.
And Helen's been posting a lot more lately. She's kicking up on that again.
I'm trying to be more on the regular. So, there's also going to be lots of links in the description box for our social medias, Instagram, things like that. Right. So check those out. And I think that's it. Thank you for taking the time to sit down with us for a while and talk crystals, because it's a favorite thing of ours. And that's going to be it for this video. So thanks for taking the time to walk the path for a little while with us. Until next time, blessed be.